Air Force, so we moved around a lot. But by the time I came to really kind of be around, the youngest of 6 children, we were living in British Columbia, raised on Vancouver Island. Now that, to me, is truly God's country. When I go home, I still call it home. But when I was about 6, maybe 7, my parents sold my swing set and bought me a bike. Now that bike was not a fancy bike. It was just a blue bike. It didn't have the banana seat like they had back in the 60s. Or the big handlebars. It was just a plain old blue bike. But that bike gave me a freedom that I didn't know I had. Now remember, when you're 6 or 7, you don't really know what that means. But I can look back now and say, yep, that was all about the freedom. Because when I got on my bike, now I also need to tell you that I grew up on, the house that we lived on was on the Trans-Canada Highway. Really slow at that point. But I always promised my mom that I would never ride my bike on the highway. What she didn't know was that I would get on my bike, or I'd walk my bike around the corner so she couldn't see me, and then I'd get on it and I would pedal as fast as I could. Didn't have helmets back then. Imagine this with long blonde hair flying behind me as I rode to the beach, and I would ride up and down the beach roads, up and down, till I found just the right spot. Because when I found that spot, that was when I was going to start my adventure. Because at that point, I wanted to be an archaeologist. I was digging in the beach, digging for treasures. I was going to find something to take home. I found shells. I found, you know, when glass gets really soft, I even brought home some little teeny tiny crabs that you find under rocks. That didn't go over very well. But that's how I spent sort of those first years where I had lots of memories. And then I had to grow up. Now I always say that you can force me to get older, you can't force me to grow up, because I'm never going to grow up. I'm here for some fun. But when I went back then, when I was looking at my life, you know, when I thought, you know, I'm going to be like my mom. I'm going to be that stay-at-home mom who cooks, who cleans, who bakes, who does the laundry, who helps kids with homework, because that's what my mom did. She was that quintessential stay-at-home mom. And I thought that was my dream. And then I left home at 19. I moved to Calgary, lived a bit of a hedonistic life for a few years. Who didn't? Let's be real, who didn't? And then I met the man who was going to be my husband. And I went, perfect. My dream's going to come true now. I'm going to have my husband, I'm going to have my kids, I'm going to have my house, I'm going to have my animals. You know, it's all going to be perfect. And I did have that for a while. But I started to think that there was something missing. I started to think that there's no adventure in my life. There's no fun. I'm not finding any treasures. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely love my kids. They are my life to me. My husband, I loved him to death. He's still alive. I didn't kill him. But I did love him. And we had what I thought was a good life. But there was always something that was missing. So I decided I'm going to go back to school. Because at that time, women were now crossing that boundary from being stay-at-home mom to having careers. And I thought, I'm Superwoman, I can do that. I'm going to go to school, I'm going to have a career, I'm going to be a mom, I'm going to do all the things. And so I went back to school twice, actually. Once with little tiny kids, and then the second time when they were a bit older. And I too got a social work degree. There's a whole bunch of us in this room. And then I got a job here in Ontario. Now, if anybody has ever had anything to do with child protection and social work, you know that it is probably one of the toughest jobs in the world. And I did that for about 13 years, and it just about killed me. Just about killed me. So I had to make a decision at one point to say, do I go back to this job that I used to love, but is killing me, or do I leave that job and find something else? I made a choice to leave the job. That was all good, except for that year. That was the year that my husband had a heart attack, my dog died, my mom died, we became empty nesters, and then just in the beginning of the next year, my husband was diagnosed with PTSD. So let's just say that, I'm going to swear here, Cord. Are you okay? the shit hit the fan. Because I thought I was done. I thought, I'm just coming out of this piece. I want to have some adventure. I don't have to work anymore. I'm gonna find little Fiona and we're gonna go have an adventure again. Didn't work. Because if anybody knows anything about PTSD, it will screw up your life completely. And it will screw up your relationships if you're not careful. But that's an old story, so I'm not gonna get there because then this one I probably will cry. But anyways, so about 3 years ago, I hired a coach because I knew that there was, again, something was missing in my life. And she helped me figure out that what was missing was little Fiona. She had been buried so far and so deep inside of me that through everything that had happened in my life, that I couldn't have fun. I didn't have an imagination. I couldn't play. As soon as I realized that little Fiona was in there, and every once in a while she'd kind of poke her head out and like knock on the door and say, hey, come on, let's go have some fun. But I always put her back. But as soon as I gave her permission, here she came. Now there was consequences for that because when little Fiona came out, my marriage ended. But I'm okay with that because you know what? It was a gift that my ex-husband gave me. He gave me the gift of my freedom. Because I wouldn't have left him, and I would have been very, very unhappy. But what I did was I chose to put me first. I chose happiness, and with all of the other crap that happened in the years before, I was letting the negativity impact me. And then the minute I started to say, no, I'm going to choose happiness. I'm going to choose to be positive. I'm going to choose to find an adventure. I'm going to go on the beach and I'm going to dig for treasure. And if I bring home a little tiny crab, yes, that's what I'm going to do. And so when we let the little person inside of us back out, our life changes. Our life becomes fun. Our life becomes joyful. And so for all of you, when you have to make a choice, I challenge you to choose joy. I challenge you to choose positive. I challenge you to choose fun and adventure. Because when you have fun and adventure in your life, you have everything you need. So go find some joy, my friends. Thank you.